We are talking about homeless students and rural districts. But first, let's look at the map. The Midwest Newsroom compiled data from the Iowa Department of Education and the U.S. Census, and they found that during the 2022-2023 school year, there were more than 7,300 homeless students in Iowa. More than 11% of those, about 831 students, are right here in our hometowns. Now, with this, the federal McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act requires public school districts to enroll students experiencing homelessness and also give them transportation and academic support. But recent reporting from the Midwest Newsroom has found that most rural school districts in our region are undercounting homeless students. And one of the reporters who uncovered this is Meghan McKinney with Iowa Public Radio. Meghan, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't we start with the impact here? I mean, when students that are experiencing homelessness slip through the cracks like this and are undercounted, they don't receive the support, what happens?
Yeah, I mean, the hard thing when I was doing this reporting project is, in the moment, there's the short-term impact and the long-term impact. And a lot of the national advocates that I spoke to about this really focused on the long-term impact of how when you have students who are slipping through the cracks and never get identified, you're really, one person, the head of the National Association for the Education of Homeless Children and Youth, Deirdre Nicholson. One way she said it is you're really setting students up for generational homelessness, So that's one thing that really stuck with me throughout this reporting.
The term generational homelessness just hits you hard. Tell us a little bit about why this is happening. I mean, what would be some reasons that students wouldn't be counted?
Yeah, there are a variety of reasons why students wouldn't be counted, but I found the biggest root issue really comes to simply just not understanding this federal definition of what a McKinney-Vento student is. So, a lot of advocates were telling me that parents simply don't understand that their living situation might qualify them to be eligible for these services. So being a McKinney-Vento student, that could be literally living without shelter. It could also mean living with relatives or friends, or what they would call doubling up, or it could be living in a car. So it's that simple definition of, wait, I don't even understand that I'm in this situation. I could qualify for these services. But this also impacts, I guess, in the school ecosystem too as well. If you hear some noise in the back, that is just my cat, by the way. Anyway, also impacts the school ecosystem. So, for a simple example, like when you're registering a student for school, if that secretary doesn't understand, or, that school administrator doesn't understand that simple definition, they might miss that student and their family. And then another reason that I thought was really interesting is a student or a family might be hesitant to just open up about their living situation in fear of, child protective services getting involved.
So lots of good reasons there. We know this is a problem, and we're not seeing a ton of movement on finding a solution when it comes to state and federal levels, but there are still people who are working on this. So through your reporting, who did you find that was stepping up to help these students?
Yeah, so, the story I reported on really focused on in Winterset, Iowa. We know where that is, Winterset near Des Moines. And, in this small community, there is just a grassroots nonprofit, just in the area that helps families in need in Madison County. It's called CRISP. And so what was so unique about the situation was that the person at the school who's responsible for tracking homeless students works really closely with this nonprofit and is able to support students more because of this relationship. So, the funds the school got to transport kids to school as part of the law, the school could pay for that. But let's say we needed funds for school supplies or a backpack, or maybe finding temporary shelter at the camping grounds, some fees for that. Then this nonprofit could come and step up and fill in those gaps and really create not only just like helping in the short term and long term, but also just creating what I found a community of trust and openness. The person I was reported on that works at the school, she's telling me, I'm confident that we pretty much have every student identified because, she's really taking that extra step to make sure that all the students in the school district have what they need.
Meghan McKinney with Iowa Public Radio in the Midwest Newsroom. Thank you so much for your reporting and for joining us here today. Now, you guys at home might be asking how school districts get money for the McKinney-Vento law. So Meghan and her team dove into that as well. To view their full report, you can head over to WQAD.com and click on the As Seen on TV tab at the top of the page.